Yeah, so I think the last thing I was just saying was we just can't be too focused on the outcome of what you're saying. Just do it with your good intention, put it out there, and don't worry about what's gonna happen. Just do it because, like I said, like you're giving a gift. When you give a gift, you shouldn't be giving a gift with, oh, what am I gonna get now? What am I gonna get in return? What is she gonna give me? She owes me something. They owe me something. You should just be doing it because you're giving service. That's just what you're doing,
Right.
And people are gonna realize otherwise. You can feel when someone's not doing something genuinely.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite illustrations of that is when somebody's like, can I have a hug? And it's like, okay, have a hug. Oh, no. Here's what they say. Can I give you a hug?
Right.
Like, you're giving somebody a hug, or are you taking a hug? And it's just, you just know. I mean, like, maybe people don't have the self-awareness to like see that in the moment, but like, do I need to be touched? Am I trying to get something here? Am I trying to get closer, or am I in service? And I'm going to rant for a mini second here.
Yeah.
A world that is full of men who know themselves as gifts and as givers is an incredibly different world. This is a world that works. It's a world that has its eye out to solve problems, complex problems, stupid, simple problems. This is why I'm doing this work with men is so that we can orient ourselves to knowing who we are is loving service and that we are a gift. And if you change your self-perception to know that you're a gift and that what you do as a gift is to show up in loving service, it completely changes your life. You don't have to expect someone to respond to your flirting because you're not really flirting. You're giving a gift. Just like a man pulls over when he's able to help somebody change a tire. Just like a man pays for the groceries behind him. Like, there are things that men do in loving service that this is I believe what our world needs, because I haven't been that, and because as I emerge into that man, I see how it's changed my life and the lives of people around me.
And that right there, what you just said, you will notice once that change starts with you, everything around you starts to change. And I realized once I started to give to the people around me, provide value to the people around me, everything changed, because it's like an impact on you and your perspective of yourself. Then you're obviously going to change that vibration around you. You're going to impact the ones that are around you, and that's going to impact them. And then they're in turn going to, be giving back to you, giving back to people in their circle. And then it's a domino effect, goes inward to outward. And that's something that every man needs to really embody and learn. It all starts with you. It all starts here. So you got to change that perspective of yourselves. Learn that, like you said, we are gifts. We have to change that perspective of, what can I get out of this? What can I get out of this? And just learn how to give, and give wholeheartedly, not like these half-assed, gifts. Like, it's like, give wholeheartedly, and do it because you're giving with your heart and not because you want something out of it. It's a whole different way to look at things.
Yeah. The first objection that I hear to being a gift and showing up in service is just practically that men are tired. Like, we're tired. I'm not thanked. It all depends on like who's watching this. Is this a guy who's been married for 30 years whose wife doesn't appreciate him, or is this a 23-year-old who's going out and dating and inspired by it? And what is the commonality in both of those things is that, yes, you show up in loving service and you source yourself through the divine. You do not source yourself through your woman. You do not place her in that spot. This is an MLM. This is downline. God is at the top of your MLM, then loving service flows out to everybody in your circle.
Yes. And I feel that that's why men that aren't connected to source, are not connected to God, they will burn out, and they will feel underappreciated, and they will feel like what they're doing is in vain, because if they're not given that energy, they're not connected, they're not connected to God. And this is actually getting into another thing here, because we like you said, we're givers, and that's what we really should base ourselves off of, is giving and making the world a better place by that gift. One of the other things that women were saying is that the reason why a lot of men are single is because a lot of men don't actually like to go on dates. And that's a really interesting one, because but this can go two ways. Now we can go two ways with this. We can say that the man doesn't like going on dates because he's just cheap and he doesn't like to spend money, and he this type of thing, or he's not competent enough to realize that you have to give an experience to a woman when you're dating. Or we can go the route of the man is not taking you on dates because he doesn't like you in that sense.
Sure. I want to validate both of those. Yeah. Both is somebody who has been cheap, and then if as a man, if you've dated a couple of women and you show up and they don't, and they're not soft, and they're not pleasant to be around, and they're full of judgment or complaining about their workday, or just or talking a lot, or super shut down and not talking at all, like it's gonna be, I mean, you just know it's kind of a crapshoot, especially with online dating. If you don't know somebody, and this is just one of the practical things that I wish I would do more of, which is vet somebody on a phone or on a Zoom call before you actually spend 20, 30, hour and a half, 3 hours with them.
Yes. And see, and this is something where I think men are gonna have to develop this. It's a skill set. It's like the vetting process is super important. You don't want to just go out and spend your resources on a woman that you're not gonna want to be with after the first date. I've been on a lot of first dates, first and last dates. And, I used to be one of those guys that was like, oh man, if I'm dating 2 and 3, 4, going on a date with her this day I'm going out with her, this day I'm going out with her. No, this is $50 to $100 here. This is, $100 there, $80 here. It adds up. Yes, it definitely does. But what I could have done to cut down on my expenses or on going on this, because you definitely want to take a woman out, but it's learning which ones you take out, which ones you don't, because like you said, the vetting process is super important. One of my friends actually started doing that, like FaceTime. He's like, oh yeah, I FaceTime with the girl for like 10-15 minutes just to get the feel of things before we go out, or to see if I still want to go out with her. And that like put like a light bulb above my head. I was like, wow, I never even like really thought about that before, and I'm like, oh, she's cute. Talk to her a little bit online, or if we're doing online dating, and oh yeah, she's down to to meet up at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Cool. And and it would just go from there. But then I get there and I'm like, oh no, like this is I'm like, now I gotta sit through this whole date, and it's like I didn't go through the vetting process. So in that sense, guys have to learn when it's not the fact that every guy's not gonna want to go out on a date. It's the fact that you want to learn which women that you're going to want to invest your time and money into, because some of these can just be, these one-time things like, oh, cool, I gave her a free meal and a free night of whatever we end up going out to do, and I do not like this woman, and we are not compatible, and this and that. So in that sense, I've been victim to that, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not going to take these girls out anymore. But that's not the way to look at it. It's learning how to vet, because that is a really important tool for men. I mean, for women to use too, but right now we're just talking about the men. But yeah, in the other sense of what the women were saying with this, the men disliking going on dates, it could be that the women or the guys that they're dealing with just aren't into them like that.
Sure. And the other thing we didn't talk about is there's been some precedent over the last over COVID to like meet up at people's houses And what happens with that is that it elevates early sex. And so even Netflix and chill, that was happening prior to COVID. And in some ways it could have set the standard for guys who, were just like, oh, we'll just come over and we'll do whatever. And, I think we're starting to hear really clearly that that's not effective. That's not an effective way to date a woman who has self-worth.
Yes.
I'm not saying that if you go over to a guy's house on a Netflix and chill date that you don't have self-worth, but for the most part, you want a man to rise to your occasion, and yourself as worthy of being, of having a man stand up straight and take you seriously.
Exactly. And I think women have to look at that too. If you think about it, things definitely have changed now from that weird period of 2020 through some of 2021 with COVID and everything. And people really couldn't go many places because places were closed or limited time. So if people were working and then they get off work and then everything's closed because of the early curfews, things kind of, went in that direction as far as restrictions. So now I feel, places are open now, and, people are doing things again and going out on dates. Places are back pretty much fully open. So, I can give a whole nother perspective. Some guys, I feel that they might be used to that, or they might think that is enough. But, sometimes it's like learning what do the women like learn about the particular woman that you're dating or women that you're talking to. What are they into? Are they into pottery? Are they into, active things like being outside, kayaking, hiking, mountain biking? What are they into, And, if you're not into that type of stuff, you don't want to do that type of stuff, then, maybe you shouldn't waste this girl's time if you're not interested in doing things that she might really enjoy to do for a date. Because you might think, sitting at home and watching TV or watching a movie that's the best idea for a date, dinner and a movie. But she might want, a different type of experience. Maybe she wants to do something like, she might not even want to spend, money. She might just want to go out somewhere with you, walk around the mall or a park or go to the beach. These are all free things that you can do, but it's still an experience. You're still getting to, know this person. You're able to create a bond with them. And it's inexpensive. One of the first things I do for a date, like sometimes guys, I think they don't want to go out on dates because they feel like they don't want to spend that much money. And something that I do, and I say I want to get to know a woman, but things went really well or pretty well, but I'm still kind of unsure, like through the vetting process. It could be something like, hey, let's go out and get some ice cream and walk the beach. It's cheap. It's, but it's nice. It's fun. It's still going to be an experience. You guys are choosing the different ice cream flavors. Oh, what did you get? And you might be trying each other's flavors or something like that. You can walk, put your feet in the sand, play around a little bit, be flirty. It gives you opportunity for these different things. So, it's really about being creative, because sometimes I feel like it's not the fact that men don't want to go on dates. It's the fact that they don't want to spend so much money right away if they don't really know how they feel about the woman yet, which is fair. I can understand that, but it's not an excuse to not take a woman out. There's so many things that you can do that are inexpensive or cost no money at all that you can still give a woman a nice experience.
Awesome. So what do you got next?
Let's see. So one other one we have here is a lot of women are saying men are single because of fear of commitment.
Fear of commitment.
Fear of commitment.
What does fear of commitment look like? I just want to say so many of the things that we've talked about today that paint men in a bad or immature light are really just developmental issues. We don't have to shit on men in order to elevate ourselves. Just the truth of it is, you got boys, you got guys, and you got men. And you can have those at any age. You can have a 13-year-old who is so oriented to serving his community and his family that he's displaying massive signs of leadership and manhood. Or you can have, like you were saying, the 50-year-old or the 55-year-old who still needs babied and taken care of, and is emotionally reactive, and that's a boy. And so they are developmental stages. So when we talk about men or males who are in this place, like each stage is an opportunity to grow up and through into the next stage. It's developmentally appropriate to just care for yourself and get yourself handled from the ages of, say, 17 to 23. Right? And before that, it's totally appropriate to be a boy and to be taken care of and to have your family provide resources for you. And then beyond that, everybody grows at different rates, but some people, something will click and they'll go like, I'm responsible for more than just me. I have to care for other people, whether it's just your family, just your partner, just your kids, or whether you choose to take on that you're responsible for the community or the world or your company or something bigger. That's really where the switch flips from guy to man. And that happens, it usually happens during a crisis period. Something falls apart in guyhood. There's some lack of meaning, that some meaningfulness in your life is not available. And if it just so happens that your crisis of meaning correlates with you seeing a need to serve in the community, then that could very well be the turning point that takes you from just caring about yourself to truly embodying the masculine principle of loving service.
Yes, I agree with that. I can personally say when I went through a lot of things, different crazy things in my life, that actually propelled my growth immensely. Of course, I can go either way. Some people stay in the victim mentality when things happen to them and they don't grow. They just actually use that to kind of just hide or stay, cling to their ways of how they are now or how they've always been. But it really does come down to the level, like you said, the level of development. The fear of commitment, this can go all different types of ways. Like I said, like with the last one, it could be that the man just doesn't want to commit to this woman. But but it also could be that it's a boy that wants to just play around, and just, but
some boys have no trouble committing because they know that the woman's going to meet a bunch of their needs. So if you know yourself as a boy, or if you're essentially siphoning resources from the world around you to take care of yourself, and you meet a woman who has resources and is willing to use them on you, well, there's no fear of commitment in that match. But what we're talking about is a man. I'm talking about men now who need to provide for other people. A man is going to calculate if he can win the game of relationship, if he has enough resources and competence to provide what his woman needs to make her happy. And so one of the pieces is that if he meets a worthy woman, he's gonna look her up and down and see, is she wearing Louboutins? Like, where's the Gucci? How much is this woman going to cost me? And if he doesn't think that he can sufficiently provide that life in order to make her happy, he might just say, this is too much. Or if he looks a woman up and down and sees 3 kids by her side, he might calculate that and say, don't know that I have the resources to sufficiently make everyone happy.
Right.
And that is no way an indictment on single moms. This is a man calculating what he can do, and is actually extremely wise, and it's a gift of service to not fuck around with things that you can't follow through on.
And that's a really good point there, because fear of commitment doesn't even have to be fear in this situation. This is calculation. Like, okay, 15 years down the road, can I sufficiently care for this woman who is very high maintenance? She wants to, she enjoys having her nails done every week or every 2 hours. I don't know how long or how often it is, but she wants to get her hair done. She wants to get her self-care massages, and she expects you to pay for this. And, looking at your own bills and what you've got to take care of, can you sufficiently do that? Can you, and this woman might be very beautiful. She might have a lot of things in common with you and all these other things. You guys might be compatible in a lot of things, but at the end of the day, well, they say 50% of divorce really happens because of finances. And you don't want to get to the point to where you're looking at this woman as a black hole. She's just taking money from you. You don't want to look at it like that, because you want your woman to, you want to be able to provide. You want her to be happy and these different types of things. So it's like I said, it's calculating. It's looking at, okay, this woman aligns with me. This woman, if you're a person that wants to not use a whole lot of resources, or say you're trying to get somewhere and you need a certain amount of resources to get there, but you are trying to date someone that's high maintenance, is going to cost a lot of the money of those resources that's going to take you to get to where you're trying to go, then yeah, maybe you need to look at this in a more logical form. This woman is beautiful. She meets a lot of my type of needs, but I know that I can't do my part. And so who am I to toy with this and trying to string her along here when I know she's not going to be happy? I'm not going to be happy in the long term. But you got to look at it like that. You really do. And in that sense, I don't think it's fear of commitment. I think it's making sure that you're committing to the right person and committing to someone who's going to align with you for your goals and whatever it is that works for you in your life.
Yeah, this fits perfectly back to the context of being a gift and knowing your actions as loving service. Because one of the reasons that men won't commit is because they want to go stick their D in a bunch of other V's. And that's real. That's a real impulse. I'm not gonna diminish that. I'm not gonna deny it. I'm not gonna apologize for it. I'm not gonna make excuses for it either. And when you know yourself as somebody who is loving service and a gift, then you stop thinking of all of those opportunities as something that you get, and you start to see them as something you need to follow through with provision, protection, and presence on. And the cost to do that with integrity goes way up. And if you're actually assessing how much time, energy, money, resources you have to provide and protect and bring your presence to a woman who you're intimate with, and giving her those gifts on a regular basis, all of a sudden the equation starts to look a little different. And you start to want to take all of these 40 options that you have, whatever your field looks like, whether it's 3 or 300, and start to narrow it down and say, in order for me to serve this woman with integrity, I need to really focus on her. I need to bring my A game to 1 eventually. And as I'm dating, maybe not date 40, maybe date 4, because the actual cost is higher than a lot of men realize to do it well. And a lot of women are victimized by men not understanding the cost and not stepping and not providing the requisite care and gifts and loving service that women innately and instinctually expect from us.
I think that's bars right there.
That's why I love conversations with you. You just bring it out of me, man.
I love how these conversations go. Like we come in and didn't exactly know how it was gonna flow, but it always seems to just flow. I love how it works. I got one last thing here. That I think is a good one. Some women are saying that men are single because they enjoy being single.
Yeah. So let's go back to the boys, guys, and men. Now, who of those 3, who would want to be alone the most?
I probably say the men.
You think the men would enjoy being alone the most?
I think the men.
I would say the guys, because the guys learn to be self-sufficient. They're not in touch with their need to provide and protect. They're also above being cared for. So a boy's going to want people around to care for him. A guy's going to be self-sufficient, and a man is going to understand that he's nourished by the service that he gives.
Okay, I see that.
Alone. Why do they want to be alone? Right? Is that what it is? guys are single because they want to be alone?
They just well, they were saying it's not that they dislike relationships, but they were saying some men just really enjoy being single, just in their, I guess in their solitude, or I guess until they meet a woman, that certain type of men that just kind of are okay with their solitude and doing what they're doing until they meet someone that is peaceful, and maybe they're pickier. I don't know. Maybe they're a little bit pickier than others.
Here's my challenge to men who don't want a relationship. I would say that there's some degree that you're not in touch with your own masculinity. Masculinity in this case meaning that you are nourished by loving service, and that you're nourished by the radiance of a woman who is soft around your leadership. And that if you develop loving service, if you develop yourself and knowing yourself as a gift, and you show up as a gift in the world, you're going to start attracting more soft and feminine women into your circle, and you'll start seeing how that symbiosis nourishes you, and how that is actually preferable to being alone. But if you're a man and you're just dating women who are hard or masculine or alpha females, as you've sometimes said, boss bitches, you may be off-put by those women, and you may actually prefer to be alone. So to those men, I would say, as you develop yourself as a masculine man, you will start to polarize the women in your field to be more feminine. And it's in that polarity that you'll find what I'm talking about with this sublime, divine essence that she brings to you. And that's really a higher ideal, I think.
I definitely agree with that, because there's a difference between, like you said, just kind of being, you could have 30 beautiful women that, are, tend to you sexually and all these different types of things. If you want to do that, cool. But there's something about the woman that, like you say, that you guys have that polarized relationship. She brings you that feminine energy, the nurturing, that beautiful essence. There's nothing like it. There's really nothing like it. And I honestly feel that a lot of men just really haven't experienced that. And maybe it's, I don't know if it's maybe changing the dating pool that they're in, because I know a lot of men said they always they met all their women at bars. And I'm not saying you can't meet a good woman at a bar, but sometimes maybe it could be changing that dating pool. Maybe if you always gone there, maybe start trying to meet women in different areas while you're traveling or anywhere.
Yeah, so I would say that it's not even about changing where you're looking for women. If you change the way you talk to women and the way that you show up, they will change how they respond to you. You will actually, same woman, and you interact with her in a different woman is showing up as masculine, it's because you are showing up as feminine. And it's your job to polarize her. And if you're not polarizing her, if you're going around complaining, where are all the feminine masculated?
Dang, that's so true. That's so true. And it all, pretty much all this stuff all comes back to self-improvement. Like you said, it all starts from within. It all comes from within. So that's something that I think a lot of men have to ask themselves. If you're still attracting these types of women, or you're seeing these types of interactions with women, it's got to be something that's a reflection from inside. So it's how you're showing up, how you're talking to them, how you're responding to them, and maybe how you're carrying yourself. It could be your energy, it could be a lot of things, but it all comes down to self-improvement and self-development, and really just becoming the best man that you can be, and showing up that way. Like you always talk about the giving service, loving service. If you're not doing that, and if you're a man but you don't know how to show up in that way, then you're gonna keep getting what you've always got. And like you said, it doesn't really matter about the pool, because one thing I've realized, it doesn't even matter where you are. Like it could be online, it could be in the grocery store, wherever. If you have that masculine energy, that really divine masculine energy, and you're giving loving service, and you're providing, and you're just you're just being that, you're being a man, an actual man. Women are going to respond to you in that way. That is a fact. They will respond to you with respect. They will respond to you in a nurturing, loving, feminine way. Whereas a guy that is not showing up like that, he might get a whole different side of a woman or people in general, but he might not ever experience that, how a woman actually can be if you're actually doing it right.
I want to tell a little story too, because this was a great thing that happened. It was a really clear illustration of this. So I met a woman who, you know, by the way, all the trappings of femininity, all of the, you know, long, beautiful hair and just, you know, great, all of the, you know, very womanly woman. And yet the way that she spoke was penetrative and leading and sometimes a little judgmental too. And those three things particularly are very masculine traits. So as we started talking, I told her to stop doing those things. I told her to stop. I led her out of her masculine energy. And I said, what I want you to do is tell me how you feel. And after doing that, and after not backing down from that for a moment, boom, I've got a completely different human that I'm talking to. I'm talking to a woman who's now soft and she's receptive, and she still has these little inclinations to be like, can I tell you what to do? You know? And you'd be like, thank you so much for asking. Not right now. So this is the same human being. And if I had not showed up in loving leadership to say, do you want to be feminine? Yes, I do. If I had not shown up and led her into that space, she would have alienated me. I would have gone away, and she would have not had an experience of a masculine man, and she would have not had an experience of her own femininity. And that would have been a shame.
It really would have. And that right there, I think, is something that men have to really focus on. If you just let things go or let things happen and let things slide, then yeah, you're gonna, that night she could have never even talked to you again because she didn't feel the masculine energy. She didn't feel that boundary that you put up, but in a loving way. And that's the thing that I think a lot of guys have to realize. It's not about screaming at a woman. It's not about checking her by putting her in her place in an aggressive way. It's about, you can do, you know, you could put boundaries in place in a loving way. It's like you say, always loving leadership. But some women might not respond to it positively in that very second, but they're going to appreciate it deep down because you didn't allow her to take the role of the reins and be the leader. Because at the core of a woman who is feminine does not want to be in control. Like, she might say that, but if she has a man that knows how to be a leader in a loving way, in the correct way, put up boundaries in a loving way, in a correct way, tell her when she's wrong in a correct way, and just tell me how you feel. Don't all this other stuff. Hey, let's get back here, you know. But being able to do that it's a skill set. It's a beautiful skill set. But every man needs to know how to be able to do this, because your relationships all across the board will change if you're able to do this.
And just to plug this is what I teach men to do. So the step one is that you take responsibility for how women are showing up in your life. If you're around a bunch of masculine women, that's your result as the creator and curator of your reality. And the second is you just have to know practical techniques about how to switch it, how to flip it. How can you get a woman into her feminine so you can provide loving leadership? Otherwise, she's going to piss you off and you guys are going to part ways. And we don't need more separation in the world. So this is what I teach men to do. It's how can you be responsible for all the results and then flip it so that you get what you want.
I like that. Man, it looks like it's about to cut off in a little bit, so I'm just gonna have a little bit of our parting wisdom. Guys, if you guys would like to check out his stuff, I'm gonna have his link for his TikTok, Daniel Fox. I'm gonna have all that stuff down below. You can find him at dfox296 on TikTok. We gotta learn how to be better men. At the end of the day, learning how to lead in love, and and offer giving, loving service to the world and to the women and to the people around us, that's really what's going to change the world, and it's going to change your perception of the world when you can start changing the things that are in you. So this is all about becoming our best selves, the best men that we can be, and really just being able to show the world that men are good. We need good men. We need men that know how to have these skills, that know how to cultivate these gifts and to give these gifts to the world. Every man has a gift. Every man is a gift. You might not realize it yet. You might not have that self-esteem yet or the confidence yet, but you can get there. And however you are right now, it does not have to be your end. So this is why it's all about focusing on self-development, becoming better. Everybody should read that one book, Atomic Habits. Get 1% better every day. If we can do that as men, man, you'll be unstoppable. And honestly, you're going to love your life a lot more. You're not going to be in a victim mentality. You're not going to have terrible relationships with women or people that are in your circle. And honestly, you're going to have so much respect for yourself that you're not even going to allow that type of negativity and the type of bad people into your circle that are going to bring you down. You're going to have people that love you as much as you love them, if even more. And you're going to attract more love and abundance and peace into your life. So that's what this is all about. That's why we do this. You guys can check out the podcast. Going to have the link for that down below in the comments. Let's do our best, guys. Become our best selves. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This is why women think that men are single, but these are things that we can all do to improve as men and as women, to learn more about each other and our differences and how we can come together.
Beautifully stated. Thank you so much for having me again.
Hey, thanks for being on again, man. We'll do it again.
All
right. Stay elevated.
Your father man. Your father man.